Carl and Brendan here from Brrraains A Head-Banging Life, gbhbl.com for short. And it's track by track time as we're taking a look at Nightbringers, the album by the Black Dahlia Murder, the 8th studio album by the American melodic death metal band. It's the first album to feature Brandon Ellis on lead guitar, replacing Ryan Knight, and was released on October 6, 2017 through Metal Blade Records. Now, of course, we cannot talk about this album or the reason why the Black Dahlia Murder was chosen as a track by track without, of course, talking about the most recent, as of the time recording, death of the band's frontman Trevor Strnad. May 11th, 2022, he died. While no official cause of death has been given, people have jumped to conclusions based on the simple fact that the phone number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline was provided at the end of the band's statement. It was a death that sent shockwaves through the metal community. Trevor was beloved, not just for his work in the Black Dahlia Murder, but his support of the scene and his general good guy feel, particularly a lot of time in the last couple of years, a lot of negativity that surrounds the scene and stuff like that. It felt like a hard hit, particularly as, well, as we said, no cause of death has been officially given. Conclusions can be jumped to, and that was quite hard for a lot of people. It was a shocker. Black Dahlia Murder is a band I've always enjoyed, I've really, really liked, and as far as I can remember, I don't believe I've ever seen live. That was supposed to change at this Bloodstock coming up, Bloodstock 2022. Unfortunately, it won't be the case, obviously, now. So, you know, of course, on that front, you know, for everyone that was affected by the death of Trevor and his bandmates and just fans in general, you know, our condolences, you know, on that front. We are fans. We wanted to cover the Black Dahlia Murder, chose Nightbringers because it is arguably seen as Black Dahlia Murder's strongest, best album, or up there amongst them. So it was an easy choice to make. I knew the songs quite well, so I wanted to do it. Yeah, Black Dahlia, Brendan.
Yeah, I'm pretty much echo the same sentiments as you. I am a fan. I was a fan. I still am a fan. As of, well, now I don't know what happens from now. Obviously, we'll see what the future brings, but Nightbringers was probably, and like, for me, is my favorite Black Dahlia Murder album. I was very, very excited to see them play Bloodstock as well, but that kind of pales in comparison, you know, to you know, oh no, I'm going to miss seeing them at Bloodstock compared to what family, close friends, and everyone who's been affected by it will be feeling. So, you know, I'm happy to deal with my loss,
yes,
from that side of things, you know. You know, like I don't know, like you said, there's no official sort of statement on it. I think a lot of things point obviously towards it being you know, an output from mental health, depression, sort of things. And as I've spoken about many times in these videos, I find those on a personal level, like they affect me very emotionally, because I feel like I can, to a degree, I'm not saying I can, but I feel like the inner torment and pain that man must have been going through, forget about the music and the front man, all that, to lead him to that potential scenario. And it's just very, very sad. That's all it is. It's just very sad. So I feel quite deeply affected by it, more so than I thought I would have. Like if I don't know, if you had predicted something like this, I wouldn't have thought I would, but I do. It's a horrific situation. It's horrible. And yeah, I mean, it's just one of those like things now. It seems so fucking commonplace. That's the saddest thing about it.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It just seems like I'm not talking about just with to us celebrities, like, you know, because Trevor Strnad, other than the fact that he's got a fucking surname that I have no idea how I'm meant to, which letters are meant to be silent in it, if any.
Strnad. Yeah, I struggle to say it as well. So just
I take the assumption the N is silent, so I call him Trevor Strad.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know, aside from the fact that he's got a really complicated surname to say, to us he's a celebrity. You know, these are our celebrities, and but whether it's celebrities, whether it's, you know, more mainstream celebrities, whether it's just like people like I hear about from working situations or whatever, like, it's just so commonplace, man, and it's really, really sad. You know, I don't know, you know, everyone says it over and over again, and we have a small reach here, but fucking reach out to somebody, man. You know, just reach out to somebody, anybody. But yeah, so yeah, I feel very sad about the whole situation, as I think you should.
Absolutely. I think I think it sent ripples through the community. Not seen in quite some time, weirdly enough as well. It was Lou, my wife, who told me. I was sitting on the couch over there, and my response was, what? Because it seemed impossible. Like, what? Him? No way. But we are going to try and celebrate his work, his life as a vocalist, as by talking through this track by track. We go through the songs, we're going to talk about it. And just remember as well, like, the body of work that he has put out is not going anywhere. So you've always got that to enjoy.
Yep. What a legacy.
Yes, what a legacy. Widowmaker. It is a super ominous start leading to an absolute blistering explosion of deathcore noise, and I am all in straight away. Showcasing an ear for chaos. If this was your first taste of this band, you'd be wondering where the melodic part that's in their name, their description, comes in. But pay attention. This is more rhythmic than you might first realize. It's a track that gets the blood pumping in the ears. And I love the frenzied guitar solo too.
Yeah. It's a strange term, like, actually, the melodic death metal band, because like melodeath, obviously, as a genre, like, does tend to gravitate to way more in the terms of melody, but I guess that's they're on the outer reaches.
Oh yeah.
Especially with this album with Nightbringers, and this is like a very, very strong way to start an album. And if you don't know anything by the Black Dahlia Murder by this point, and you're wondering what it's going to sound like, you're kind of left being very, very confident, like, what you're in for by the end of the song. I think, like, across this album, you're going to come out of this going, yeah, okay, it's going to fucking slay. Basically, it's going to be brutal. And it is, it's got nice tense intro sounds. It builds atmosphere nicely and kind of sets you up ready for it. And then it's like, yeah, fucking have that, you pricks. Massive crunch of metal, punchy riff, strong vocals, nice mix of tones. Very important, I think, to keep it sounding fresh and not just be monotone coming at you all the time. It's angry, intense, but still has a cracking melodic solo, and that's, I guess, it's not the only bit, because actually, like you said, within the rhythms is melody as well. But if you are like, where's my mellow death bit? Yes. It's like, well, there you go, there's your solo. It's a very strong way to start an album, and I think it really sort of states like intent, and I think that's what you want to do with an open song, when they come in and say, right, this is what this album is. How
many times have we criticized an opening track for not doing it? The wonderfully title of God and Serpent, of Spectre and Snake. Oh, what a fucking track title that is. And it's just as fast, frantic, and heavy. The guitars are screaming, the vocals are blistering, and the drums are ball busting. This is a much more chaotic listen, but it's just as addictive for me, because I have a real penchant, a real love for controlled chaos. And this is what this track is.
Yeah, it is. Also the name is cool as fuck, man. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Like, just no time for respite. It goes from Widowmaker straight into this, and it's just a ferocious blast of metal. Vocals seem to be done without a second to inhale, which is, again, like, impressive. Just streaming like words out without taking that moment to go, you know what I mean? It's like, the drums, guitars, bass, everything just comes at you at a million miles an hour, which is really, really intense, and just makes it, when it hits that sort of, they never get slow, but there's points where it tails in, and suddenly, just for a moment, might hit a more rhythmic section, and you're like, okay, cool, and then they come back and blast you again. It just makes that even more effective, because you're coming off like a cliff. Do you know what I mean? You're just like hurtling towards a cliff, and then you're like, oh, I'm just hanging in midair for a second, and then bang, I hit the floor, and I'm back in again. And I love that. I love the way it kind of makes me think about them as they're playing it. And it's like, I think to a casual listener, or maybe who doesn't listen to metal, I can understand somebody would listen to stuff like this and go like, oh God, this is just a noise. Yeah. But I think when you listen to this stuff a lot, you start picking up that the intelligence in the song structure. Like, it's creative as fuck. It's really, really clever, actually, the way that they take these little moments every now and then to just take you out of that place you're in, and then they bring you back into it again. I think it's a fantastic song. I think the only thing I did write down was like, firstly, the solo is amazing. I love the solo in this song, But during the solo, the drums hit like a level that, whereas up to this point, I was like, oh, these drums are fucking insane. And then they hit the solo and the drums just go like, I was like, holy shit, I don't even know. I haven't got a word for this. And so I did just write down, like, if I was the guitarist, I would probably be a bit pissed at the drummer. I'd be like, I was like, dude, that was my moment, man. What the fuck?
Oh, it's the drummer's Spinal Tap moment, man. That's that drum 11 in
They're
it.
trying to steal my thunder.
Matriarch, a flurry of drums and riffs introduced this track, and once again the tempo is absurdly hot, a continuation of the Spitfire aggression and sharp stabs. The surprising thing though about this one is there is touches of groove that sneak their way in here and there. The intensity is still on another level, but you might find yourself headbanging in a more measured way on this track. So whereas like the other two, I could say circle pit mayhem is a term I might use, that still exists here. But I also then pictured, oh, no, people would get into that groove and you'd have that rhythmic thing going on.
Yeah, we picked up like exactly the same thing from this song. Yeah, I started off by just saying, like, Matt, fuck me, this album is relentless. It's just another ripper of a track with intense and insane speed and aggression, but there's every now and then hitting these little settling moments where it hits the groove and it's just brilliant.
Yeah,
and it's just like you're in this hurricane of chaos and then everything just suddenly aligns and you'll find yourself headbanging along intensely, really caught in it, and then the chaos will hit again, which I loved. I think it's a phenomenal track. I did read the lyrics for it and then I was like, I'll stop reading them because lyrically it's quite disturbing, but it's a phenomenal track.
Fair enough. All right, Nightbringers, the title track. Oh, this is the kick-ass tune of the album. The main riff is solid fucking gold, and a slight drop in tempo really lets you hear it, which I thought was awesome. Trevor is really growling with intensity, and the track overall has a meatiness that just sits so right in my head. Sudden but brief bursts of faster moments keep things on the edge, and there is also, just to really top this one off, a ripping guitar solo in the latter half.
Yeah, a song I absolutely love this song. I think the intro groove is brilliant, settles into a steady but still intense and heavy song. Loads of different rhythms throughout. The drummers obviously, like again, all the band are immensely talented. I like the changes in pace and it's not always obvious in the songs before this, but there is always a chorus, and and actually, but the chorus is a bit more prominent here, and it's actually it's a really, really good chorus, man. And then the drums just hit the overdrive near in the end of it. I think the vocals are brilliant. The solo again is another great solo. And I think I just started like waxing lyrical about it. I was like, wow, what an album this is. This album's amazing. I think on a first listen. I remember the first time I listened to this album. Like if you listen to this by now, you'd be like, yeah, this is fucking special. You don't even need to go any further. This is a special album. You get like 4 tracks into it, and you just, like at this point here, it's so difficult to separate like the songs and be like, oh, that's good and that's okay. It's just like song after song. It's just like another fucking brilliant track, so yeah.
So I'm going to mention this now. I probably should mention it at the start, but I'll jump on it here. I actually need to give credit to someone else for the Black Dahlia Murder interest and Nightbringers, and specifically. And weirdly enough, it's another writer who doesn't get involved in the rock and metal side, but is known to dabble in that taste. It was Liam, our other brother, Liam, who writes some of our horror movie stuff as well and appears in some of the videos like Getting Goosebumps and things like that. I can't remember exactly the scenario, but I remember exactly where I was. And I was on a Southeastern train going to Charing Cross, and I listened to Nightbringers on his recommendation. And that's exactly why, it just came to me there when you were talking there about that title track. About the first time hearing it and things like that, it just comes into my head. But continuing with this, jazz, and it's back to the anarchy with this track, but much more palatable following the previous track. At first, I think this one's just a bit par for the course, But as you listen on, the wildness of what the guitars are doing ends up being quite captivating. The thing is, this is a track where it's not as clear cut as it first seems, as there's a bit more complexity to it and a lot more going on overall. Elements like the group shouts in particular are a nice new touch that I ended up really liking.
Yeah, we're picking up very similar feelings about each song, which so we're consistent. Wickedly quick riffs, excellent drumming. I think the vocals are great. I love that lead guitar melody that just pops its head up every now and then, just breaks up the almost impenetrable aggression.
Yeah.
The little gang vocal moments and a couple of fiery little solos. It's a completely chaotic song at times, but it's organized and structured chaos. And yeah, another very, very strong song.
Yeah, we're not just paying lip service here to a fallen band member. This is generally that good of an album.
Yeah.
And it continues in the Kings of the Night world, where crushing and scathing stuff comes about. It's another absolute banger that features exceptional twists and turns while being consistently fast, heavy, and brutal. It's got my favorite blend, blistering drum work and vocals that somehow keep the pace with the drums. That is something I picked up here, that, oh my God, those drums are going that fast. So is he. How is it possible to do that? This, to me, is a great example of a circle pit heavyweight that you would ever see, that immediately, for the entire length of it, that pit is on fire.
Yep, and agreed again. Love the intro. It feels like these guys have got intros nailed by now, as well as everything else. Lots of lead guitars in this one. I love that higher melodic sound over the intense drums, bass, and vocals. Just one of those songs I feel like I can pit to the verses, headbang to the chorus, and throw my hands up in the gang vocal section. It's one of my favorites on an album, the favorites.
Catacomb Hecatomb. Spitting, snarling, guttural savagery. The vocals are out of this world in this one, but it's not the only notable thing, as the guitars also really well. Simple and sweet for me. It's just another banger.
Yeah, I really like the trade-off between vocal pitches and the added creativity that comes through in this track with that furious riff that switches to the more extended melody. Mini breakdowns effective, and the drums that come back from it are absolutely fucking insane. Another great solo, and somehow, again, like this one, I think like, oh, now he's hit a new level of drumming. He somehow comes back out of solo and goes fucking quicker again. And I just was like, this is fucking exhausting to listen to. Like this song, absolutely exhausted listening to it. I feel like I've had a workout, so God knows how they feel performing it. But wow, what a track.
Oh yeah, man, to have seen this album played in full, say, at a show would have been fucking incredible. Particularly as well, they were smart and they knew to keep this tight. So already at the penultimate track, and it's As Good as Dead, a brilliant blend of stompy groove and frenzied death. This is headbanging gold, and I was surprised by actually how much I ended up liking this one. I hit replay on this track more than any other one on the album, which is shocking considering how many great songs there were. It's got a kick-ass solo too. This one, I don't know what it was specifically, if there's any particular point I can pull out and say why, but this one just resonated with me really strongly.
Unsurprisingly, I like it too. Love that stompy intro and the lead guitar melody. I think it has a very sort of foreboding and threatening sound. It leads into a furious track with more insane vocal power and range on display. So he's just really, I've mentioned the drums and the guitars and that a lot, but like he is a very, very strong vocalist, man. And dare I say, the chorus is catchy as hell. And that sounds strange to say it, this is the Black Dahlia Murder going a million miles an hour, and the chorus is catchy as hell. Gets into a nice groove and rhythm, a heavy headbang, and it's a continued like amazing album, just track after track. It's just like, yes. And the great thing about it, because of this style, right? Like we've heard many times on many albums, it's almost impossible to do what they've done here, which is to get this far into an album of this style and at no point sound like, oh, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
And I like it. Every song has its own unique like feel to it, which I love about it.
You're absolutely right. We use terminology in not just our videos, but in our written reviews and stuff like that. And I know I run into it, and I presume you do as well, which is there's only so many times and so many ways you can describe something as brutal, savage, ruthless, heavy, and all that. So you're always trying to find new ways to describe something and all that. But simply, these terms exist for a reason. You can call every track, we can reference every track in this album as brutal, fast, heavy, and all that. But that doesn't mean they sound the same. It just happens to be those are the terms. That's the image that it creates in your head. But we are at the end. The Lonely Deceased. The longest track in the album too, with over 5 minutes. Hold on, guys. What the fuck are you doing going over 5 minutes long? What do you think you are, Blind Guardian? You won't notice the difference though, as it's very much the type, but not at first. It's a more cinematic and drawn out introduction, blows up into that word again, and it is chaos. The guitars, drums, and vocals aren't in sync, but it still sounds super impressive. Arguably the most beastly track in the album, but melody, way more notable here. Touches of it here and there, you'll pick it out. It'll be a lot more clearer to your ears if you're not doing a deep dive. It's really notably here. It's a very strong ending. It's just good ending to a fucking great album. Yep.
And we're not going to divert on this one either. Love the fact that you get that touch of something epic happening in the intro. We pretty much picked up like the same things from every song, and that's just because of how good an album it is. I think everyone will still all pick out the same terms, but I felt that like something big was happening. It explodes into chaos, sometimes organized, sometimes more chaotic. Of course it's heavy. The whole album is heavy. There's impressive instrumentation, amazing drums, powerful vocals. But it's all tied together through this wonderful long-running guitar line that just like a thread of melody that just holds all the chaos on it, so it can all bounce around, but it always comes back and it's just held together by that one thread of melody. So another fantastic song and an excellent track to end on.
And an excellent track by track to talk through. I do love it when it's just this, when there isn't even, not even once do we have the thing that sometimes comes up, which is, this track's fine. We didn't even have that.
No, this is a phenomenal album. It really is.
It should be noted, it's one of many. This is their 8th album. Black Dahlia Murder has a fantastic catalogue of albums. So if you've never really experienced them, you've heard the score, what's gone on recently, and decide you want to do a bit of a dive, you could do no harm and start with Nightbringers, maybe work your way backwards and so on, and just experience the whole thing. This is the problem now. We have to somehow pull out 3 tracks.
Yeah, and I think like depending on what day of the week it is, my 3 tracks might sometimes change, but as it was at the time I wrote this, I went for Matriarch, Kings of the Night World, and Nightbringers.
2 out of 3 on the same one, but this is what Brendan just said. When I do my favorites, as I do each track's notes, if I particularly love that track, I'll highlight the title in bold and I'll leave it bold. And if by the end 3 have stayed bold, there will be the 3. If there's 4 or 5, then I just have to eliminate them. With this was the one where everything went bold, and I was well, that's just fucking stupid, isn't it? So we don't do it that way. But we have agreed on some of them, and the 2 we agreed on is Nightbringers and Kings of the Night World. The difference is, and it pains me to say because Matriarch's such a wonderful, wonderful track. For me, it's as good as Dead that I chose as my 3rd track.
Thought you say it.
Yeah. Black Dahlia Murder's Nightbringers. Listen, have you got any thoughts on it? Do you love it as much as we do? Do you feel as strongly, passionately about this level of melodic death as we do? Do you hate it? That'd be an interesting comment to come up with. You write that, you're going to have to explain yourself. Don't just get the right, I hate it.
Yeah, justify that shit.
Man. Yeah, I hate it because, and so on. It is a phenomenal album from our perspective. We'd love to know your thoughts. Drop them in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?